Last time I spoke with industrialist Sanjeev Gupta, he warned of a slump in global steel demand, 20 to 40%, that slump we now hear. Mr. Gupta's global business employs 35,000 people, and this week he announced a 30% efficiency cut, which will touch Australia, but there is also upside. Sanjeev Gupta joined me from Wales, and I asked him first to confirm that no jobs are at risk at his Whyalla steel plant.
I think it's very important to stress what we have announced is an efficiency drive. And that efficiency drive, and we're targeting between 20 and 30% improvements in every business. But in most businesses, actually, that comes from operational changes. Because with the new demand patterns, we have to adjust production, we have to adjust how we produce, what raw materials we use, what shift patterns we have, and so on. So it's not about job cuts. And for example, in Whyalla, there are no job cuts. So these things always catch the headlines, unfortunately. Yes. But this is not a 20-30% job cull everywhere. In fact, in most operations, especially in production operations, it won't have an impact. It'll have slightly more impact, I guess, in offices and so on, because we're going to do a lot more remote working, digital working, and so on. So this is a pattern which, unfortunately, is the way of the future, and we have to embrace it. Something which I would like to stress is we have set up our GFG Workforce Solutions, and that is basically a safety net for those factory workers, where each worker which is impacted will be offered an alternative. They won't be left behind.
Right. Pulling back to Whyalla, because you've also got some good news for Whyalla, which is that you are ploughing ahead with the plan to make it your first primary steel plant to be transformed to green steel. Just what does this mean, Sanjeev?
Yeah. So actually, again, linking up to last question, again, this jobs issue, again, last point I make on that is that it's also about new jobs. We have set up an academy, or we're setting up an academy, Green Steel Academy in Romania, together with the local university there. We will look to do that in similar places to train the new set of skills and young people which we need coming into our industry for our new green steel plants. So in terms of our green steel plants, we have three giant leaps, as I call them, which we're going to make. One is in Whyalla, one is in Romania. I signed that with the PM and his cabinet. They all came to our plant together with Romgas, together with the transport minister, the economy minister. Everybody was there, and we signed up for this first conversion in Europe to green steel. Similarly, in Whyalla, we're going to be actually the first conversion out of our three primary steel plants, and also in Czech Republic, in Ostrava, we're setting up a hybrid furnace which will use intermittently hot metal from blast furnaces and scrap in electric process. So all of these three steps really sort of fast forward us, let's say, towards our green steel journey. We were already on this anyway, as you know, we announced our CN30 target earlier before the crisis, which was a target to get green over the next 10 years. We're actually going to accelerate that now. We see that as a compelling need, because not only do these technologies give us the ability to reduce emissions, they're actually also much more flexible. So electric arc furnaces by nature can be operated on and off when you like. So you can basically produce as much as the market demands, unlike blast furnaces, which you have to constantly produce, and hence you come in pressure when you have slumps in demand like we have now.
And this new plant in Whyalla would be, to start with, it would be supplied, fueled by gas, but down the track it will be fueled, you hope, by hydrogen. Now, how will you do that?
No, absolutely. That is exactly the green steel journey. On the one side is recycling scrap, on the other side is hydrogen steel. Hydrogen today is not competitive and not available in abundance, but we're setting up our own hydrogen pilot plants, including trying to do one in Whyalla as well. And that hydrogen will be made from renewable energy. And when we talk about renewable energy, again, our three mega projects, Kultana in Whyalla, Glenshero in Scotland, and Ascmouth in Wales, all three of them are basically either completing financial closure or making great strides ahead. So these renewable projects will then feed into cheaper hydrogen, larger scale hydrogen production, and they will substitute eventually the natural gas which we will use as a transition fuel on our DRI plants.
Right. In the near term, though, Whyalla, the steel plant itself, I think you've said has been bleeding cash and obviously needs to have some focus around performance. You've got an international team coming in there. What's the team going to be doing?
So first of all, the team is already at play, remotely, albeit, but one of the members is actually in Whyalla, and the rest of the team is talking daily, constantly at play, and they're already hitting wins. In May, we produced 40,000 tons in our mill in Whyalla, which was a record month. Also, in terms of the operational performance of all our units, it was better than previously. So they're already hitting wins. What is what is critical is that in this current environment, we cannot have operations which lose money, because in the next year and a half is going to be tight for everybody, and we must focus down on operations which are struggling. And Whyalla has certainly been struggling since we bought, obviously it's well before that as well, but since we bought it as well. We made a lot of improvements, but still it continues to lose money. But I'm very confident with this team, and they're the best people, the best experts from around the world. This team, with the cooperation of our workforce in Whyalla, which are obviously totally vested and totally committed to save that plant, I'm very confident that we'll get to break even. That's what we need to do. We need to get to break even for the next 3 years while we build out our green steel plant. And our green steel plant has a very high rate of return. It's a very profitable business, alongside being a greenest plant. In one of the greenest plants in the world.
And here we are with this manufacturing-led recovery that the government is talking about. Do you think in order to bridge that gap, you're going to need some sort of government support?
So again, I think this is a very important point. I think it gets misunderstood a lot. We are not asking for any subsidies. We're not asking for any taxpayer money anywhere in the world. Right? What we're largely asking for is, these projects are always very large projects, very high capital intensive projects, in billions of dollars. And these sort of projects don't happen with some kind of state involvement, not so much for giving subsidies, but for helping secure some of the debt. Most of the debt will come from the market, from our equity, but some of the debt support comes from governments. The Romanian government has signed up for this day before with me, with the Prime Minister and his team. Other governments are rushing in. I mean, this is the time where every economy needs to embrace local manufacturing and needs to embrace green manufacturing. I was with the French government yesterday, with the French minister yesterday. I mean, this is not something which is unique to any particular place. Every country in the world is going to double down on their own manufacturing as a result of this crisis, because they need their local economies to revive. And obviously, you will invest, when you invest, you will invest for the future and not for the past. And the future is green, and future is green still.
Sanjeev Gupta, great to talk, and I'm glad you've managed to get on a plane. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care.